Kyle Rittenhouse, a teenager accused of killing two people and shooting another during the unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin last summer, has been found not guilty on all charges against him.
The 12-person jury acquitted Rittenhouse of all the charges after deliberating for more than 25 hours.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
And Rittenhouse faced charges of homicide, attempted homicide, and reckless endangerment after killing two men and wounding a third during protests in Kenosha last year. He would have faced a mandatory life sentence if he was found guilty.
So the verdict came on the fourth day of deliberations and the 15th day of the trial. Joining us live right now to talk about it, legal analyst Wendy Patrick, live from Los Angeles. Wendy, good afternoon. Why do you think the jury came to this decision that they did?
Because they weighed the evidence inside the courtroom, Maria and Andrew, is the short answer, not the narrative outside the courtroom. You know, we have seen so many sensational trials over the last 10 years, but there's really nothing quite like the power of social media to really take that sensationalism to another level. So it's almost like there are two systems of justice, two courts, one in public opinion and one in the courtroom. But that jury, they spent the last 3 days, an agonizing 3 days. You remember how everybody was talking about how tired they looked at the end of the day, looking at the evidence that was introduced in that trial. And after all of those days, asking for individual copies of the jury instructions, asking to see the video again. Remember, unlike many trials, this entire thing was caught on videotape. After listening, no doubt, and talking about the testimony of the defendant himself, they weighed the evidence and came to a verdict that they believed was supported by evidence, not emotion. And that was a verdict of not guilty.
You know, Wendy, it doesn't sound like you're very surprised by the outcome as you've been watching this trial. Now, the judge was critical of the prosecution more than once, including the fact that they sent a lower resolution video to the court than what existed. Did they make any mistakes in how they went about this trial?
You know, it's impossible to judge another office without knowing more about the facts of the case and not knowing more about what goes on behind the scenes. You know, we are only privy to a snapshot of what's involved in both prosecuting a case and defending a case. I would say the same thing in a civil case. So we do look at what the judge really found in his rulings, as he probably had way more evidence than we did. One thing we did find that was very consistent with this judge is his concern for those jurors, not just in making sure they had the best evidence available, as you mentioned with the videotape, but also making sure they had the best environment available to deliberate. You saw him take some very strong measures with respect to the media when it came to light that there may have been some following by a freelancer, I guess, by MSNBC. He did everything he could short of sequestration to try to ensure that this jury had every advantage in doing everything they can to reach an independent verdict that had that integrity. We don't want to ever see anything that would dissuade people from wanting to serve as jurors in the future. And that judge was very adamant that that's the steps that he took during the course of this trial.
Wendy, let's talk big picture here a little bit. So much civil unrest that we've seen of late as far as protests. January 6th would be an example as well, as far as people wanting to have their voices heard in maybe a aggressive manner, if you will. Let's talk about the takeaway from this trial and the acquittal of a 17-year-old kid who took an AR-15 across state lines and got involved in a dangerous situation, ended up shooting 3 people, killing 2 of them. Could this lead to other people feeling justified in taking similar actions as far as wanting to basically deputize themselves?
Oh, you know, what a great question. That is the concern. That is the worry that communities all across the nation are feeling right now, especially open carry states or open carry jurisdictions. You know, nobody wants to see weapons being carried around a protest where emotions are high. You know, I always emphasize evidence, not emotion. That's the standard for a jury, and that also should be the standard for some of the narratives that we hear outside the courthouse. Remember that a lot of the loudest voices didn't watch any of the evidence, so it's almost like two entirely different stories. And you both know this as media professionals, that sometimes can lead to dangerous situations. And our prayers are with the Kenosha community and similar communities that might hopefully dissuade anybody from deputizing themselves and seeking vigilante justice. So you're very wise to raise that, and we only hope that we don't see another scenario like this unfold.
All right, well, we'll definitely have to sit here and watch and see what happens over the next little while. Reaction obviously just coming in.
Yeah, the trial we've been watching here for many, many weeks. A story we've been following much longer than that.